When I interviewed Angelina last summer, she was on the verge of making some big changes in her life, and she promised to come back and talk about them. And she does. Everything from the public side of her life to the most private, intimate details. As I said, she is honest. She has been called a devil doll and a wild woman.
You weak people, you're all weak. No, get up! Get up! No!
It's no wonder that movie star Angelina Jolie is just as famous for her life off-screen as on-screen. She has admitted to cutting herself with knives and having a childhood obsession with death. And Angelina has lots of tattoos. This one celebrated her second marriage at 24 to 44-year-old actor Billy Bob Thornton, himself 5 times married. It was a bizarre relationship from the beginning.
I'm just happy. It's nice to see you again.
It's a beautiful train wreck.
They kept a pet rat and sported his and hers vials of their own blood.
We read things about us that are strange, and they're not even close to how strange we really are.
After 2 years, the marriage became too strange, even for Angelina. She filed for divorce and ordered his name burned from her shoulder. When we met recently in a London pub, Angelina spoke honestly about her reasons for making such dramatic changes in her life. Why this self-destructiveness? Do you know where it came from?
Well, I don't know, except that I didn't have a sense of purpose. I felt so off balance all the time. I remember one of the most upsetting times in my life was after I had maintained success, financial stability, and I was in love. And I thought, I have everything that they say you should have to be happy, and I'm not happy.
The most significant change was her decision to adopt Maddox, a Cambodian orphan whom she affectionately calls Madness. Then Angelina moved to England, where she plans to raise him.
You good?
Oh, goodness gracious me.
I took charge of our life when he came home. And I decided to make big choices and live even bolder and do things right away because it was our life suddenly. And so I was inspired by him to travel the world all the time because I want him to have this experience or that experience.
Mother and son often fly to Cambodia, she says, to maintain a connection with his heritage. Angelina bought land here and is building a home on stilts in the jungle.
We had about 48 unexploded ordnances, they call them landmines, in our property. And they found them, and they're from all different countries, including my own. Some of them are very small and plastic, and some of them are big rockets.
This is M69.
So they use those with the tripwire?
Yeah.
And it does make me a bit nervous because we feel we've cleared them all.
Angelina, why would you buy property or get property with landmines?
Because that's my son's country. Because
But it's so dangerous.
It is, and I'm sure I'd hate myself and probably not be able to live with myself if Maddox stepped on one and died, because I'd feel like I killed him. It's so shocking to everybody that I would live there, but I feel like it's part of my son's life and part of our life together is to confront that part of his country, good and bad, and live there.
Angelina's new life does not include a man. With her divorce finalized, everyone seems to want to know who's next.
I'm rumored to be dating everybody, but no, I'm not at the moment.
So how long have you been single now?
I haven't had sex for over a year. I haven't been dating. I haven't
Poor
been.
thing.
I know. It's horrible.
You have not had sex for a whole year.
No, I haven't.
Do you miss it?
Yeah. Absolutely.
You said that you were, quote, ripe for the plucking.
Well, I am. Well, I haven't had sex in a year. So.
Has anybody offered to come along and
Oh, say it, Barbara.
Am I really doing this?
I just can do without it for now. But I'm sure sooner or later I'm starting to really want it and miss it again. Yeah.
For you, does it have to be a relationship?
No.
I mean, for many women it doesn't. For many women it can, you know,
I think it used to be because I didn't have many lovers, but I married so many of them and I was in serious relationships for so long. And I've never really had just lovers. And look at me, I'm crossing my arms and getting all defensive.
Exactly. I never had sex just for sex.
I haven't, but but maybe I'll start. I don't know.
Angelina, I can't imagine that they're not lining up.
to be a lover. Maybe they will after this. Maybe I'll get a phone call.
In the meantime, she has her hands full. Tomb Raider 2 was one of the hits of last summer. It was the latest in a diverse career of contrasting parts. In the coming year, Angelina will star in 5 movies. Her newest film, Beyond Borders, is the story of a socialite mother who devotes her life to working with refugees. She falls in love with a fellow relief worker played by Clive Owen and follows him to Africa and Asia.
I'm worried that something's going to happen to you. Every day for 4 years, every morning, I wake up and I wonder if you're okay, if you're still alive, where you are.
When Angelina read the script 4 years ago, she says it changed her life.
Something in me really wanted to understand what the film was about. These people in the world, all these displaced people in war and famine and refugees. And so I got up and got really excited and asked people to start collecting books on the UN. And then I called Washington and I joined.
Let's see if I can chime in.
Over the last 3 years, United Nations Goodwill Ambassador Angelina Jolie has traveled extensively, visiting refugees all over the world. In Tanzania, she helped build a shelter in a refugee camp.
Makes me so happy. Tell them I'm so happy I met them. I was last night. I was so happy.
But it is difficult to confront the suffering. These children fled from their home in the Congo after their parents were killed in the civil war there. And in Ecuador, she met a father who had lost his 3 children in another civil war.
I had to leave my family behind, 3 children.
Angelina has donated over $3 million to the UN's refugee program. Another $10 million went to a wildlife program in Cambodia. Worth magazine recently included her on a list of the 25 most influential philanthropists in the world. She says she divides her income into 3 parts. Almost 1/3 goes to charity.
It's nice for me to put a whole section aside to just know that wherever I go, I can write checks here or there. And it makes me so happy to be able to do it. It's an easy thing to do. I make a stupid amount of money to do what I love for a living.
Shh, don't tell them. I'll give you a list. She visits some of the world's most dangerous war-torn nations.
So maybe you could just explain to me.
She recently returned from a particularly risky trip to the border of Chechnya. Do you now think twice about going to these places since you have a child? I mean, you could be kidnapped, you could be targeted by terrorists. This is dangerous. Do you worry about it?
Yeah, I do sometimes. Like when I went to Russia and I wasn't able to go inside Chechnya, I got a travel warning and they told me, cannot bring your son into this region because he will be target of kidnapping, possibly. And the thought that somebody would kill my son just because I was trying to do something good or help something was so just stunning to me.
You're risking your life and you have a child.
And I have no right to risk my life if I have a child. Right?
Yeah.
But what about those millions of people that have children that are in the middle of nowhere and nobody's, you know, do we let, what about those children?
You can't save the world, Angelina.
No, of course not, and I know that. But maybe because my son's adopted, I see him as those children. They're just like my son, and he's from one of those countries.
Are you planning to adopt a child, perhaps in one of these countries you're visiting, if it's possible?
I am, yeah. It's always on the back of my mind when I think everybody in my life expects every time I come back for me to come back.
How many do you want?
A small football team. I don't know. I mean, I think at the end of the day, as many as I can handle.
When you were younger, you believed you wouldn't live very long.
No.
Why not?
It is odd, but I don't know if it's that rare. But I learned a lot about my being a self-destructive person in my life. I never felt satisfied. I never felt calm. I still have that problem. I don't sit down well. But I think that's something that comes with finding responsibility, finding some use, finding some sense of purpose.
Now do you feel that you will have a long and fulfilling life?
Yeah, I do. Yeah. And I wouldn't have adopted a child if I didn't think I was absolutely never going to be self-destructive again.
That's a car.
You will never be
I
self-destructive.
will never be as long as I'm a parent. I will never be. I can't. Because my life has a purpose, and I've dedicated my life. I've made a promise to this child. I accepted more before Maddox. Now I accept nothing less than everything that's possible, because I want the world for him.
Lovely thoughts. And by the way, at the beginning of the program,